We work hard, we play hard. We are gamerpreneurs. Individuals who have chosen to give up the security of a 9 to 5 in favor of getting to set our own hours, of doing the work that we want to do, and we refuse to give up the hobby that we grew up with in order to, quote, grow up. We have learned countless laws of life and sales from the games that we play, and we excel in everything we do. We see the wonder and glory in every interaction. We fit in awkwardly with the rest of the world because they don't understand our quirkiness, and we wear it as a badge of pride. We are focused, clear, and know what we want. We are gamerpreneurs, and we are taking over the world. Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to the Gamerpreneur podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Bradford Carlton. Today I have a special guest with us. I have Don Wilson from Green Magi Labs. Hi, Don. How's it going?
That's going great. How you doing?
Is Donald or is it Don? Which do you prefer?
You know what? It doesn't actually matter to me that much. I was in the military for a while, so it was Wilson, and then I've been referred to as Don, Donald, and so I'm pretty loose with it.
Okay. What's your handle? Maybe we can call you that. So
I actually stream under myself on YouTube under Donald Wilson. And then on D Live, I stream under Burn Down. On video games, some of the tags I use, like it matters if it's a long run video game. I'll use Evil Brand on a lot of RPG games, which is kind of naughty. But it varies. My actual game channel, though, is Donald Wilson. And I just didn't get creative with it at all, which I'll do.
In that case, I'll call you Donald. Let's roll with that. All right. So Donald, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
So I have a background in business and entrepreneurship, and mostly I advise companies on their marketing or their financial structuring, and have focused on mostly helping with startups and corporations. I launched a corporation myself, Green Magi Labs, with a group of shareholders and stuff like that. And that's a lot of what brought me onto YouTube, because a lot of people were like, well, with the size of the corporation that you guys are and with the amount of money, because I had made the mistake of not taking on enough shareholder equity in the beginning part. And so we didn't have the amount of money that some companies would have to pour at the creation of a brand image. And we were doing actual product launch in a new industry that required an extensive amount of, a lot of work. Sure. With a little amount of money. And so marketing, it became imperative that we moved on to YouTube and social media. And so even though my background was in business, I was forced into the reality that social media is the most powerful medium to actually reach masses. And so there, all of a sudden we were streaming and on YouTube. And once you're a little bit more native, I guess it develops more of a, hey, I'm in more facets of how I can take advantage of this medium.
Absolutely. You got to go where the people are. And there's millions and millions of people on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. You got to be where they're at. Absolutely agree. So before we kind of get into you as a gamer, your businesses, I always start my podcast by asking kind of a silly question. So on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being high, how weird are you?
So I always consider myself to be pretty normal. The people around me reassure me that I'm not. And so it's comparative. I mean, I don't fit in really well. Like if I were trying to be like, I like my own tune of things, and I'm pretty aggressive and competitive and high energy. And so I'm probably a little weird, but.
Sure, but you march to the beat of your own drummer.
Yeah, I enjoy being me over conforming for sure.
All right. So can you kind of give us your gamer cred? Let's start there. How'd you first start playing video games?
Okay, so, well, when I was a kid, because I grew up in the 80s and stuff, and so Atari and all that was coming out, and so I played the game with what is it? I can't remember what, a joust, I think, when I was a kid and stuff like that. And so over the evolution of video games, they've been an immense part of my life since it's an extension of another world that you get to explore. And so over the evolution, I played everything from Guild Wars to the original Diablos, a bunch of the Baldur's Gate. I love D&D as a actual platform game, tabletop, and most of the evolutions that have occurred online. And I'm an avid player of PvP games, like from Halo to PUBG. I'm horrible at Fortnite, to be honest. Like absolutely. I've tried it. I even streamed it. And honestly, I think most of the people watching just were nice because they were nice. It was not me being good. It was me depending on others people playing that were good, building while I hid and tried to figure out what I was doing, in which not the most comfortable place where you're like, let me stream this. And then you're like, oh, I'm really bad at this game. But it's something that you learn and you pivot from. So
Absolutely. So you're a lifelong gamer. I love it. So let's talk about your streaming a little bit. You said you stream on YouTube and D Live. So can you kind of tell us how you started getting on there?
okay, so with YouTube, it really was over my business originally. We had to have a place to where we could afford to market ourselves. Plus, we wanted to have the ability to where when we had questions to our company come in, we could literally shoot them a video answering it, in which like we felt was going to be an effective platform, like a little quiver of ammunition that we'd be able to use to answer questions and develop our company's brand and stuff like that. And so I play video games all the time, and I actually have friends that were streamers, and they're like, hey, you should stream, try this platform. Like it was Relentless from Relentless Gaming Cartel who got me to jump onto D Live and try it. And he does really well on that platform. I did pseudo well on that platform, but you earn immediately based on immediate Lino donations on D Live. And so I felt that the amount of time you have to actively stream for that platform was a high amount. YouTube as a platform, I really liked. And part of it is because there's an evolution of finding yourself as where am I in the platform? Am I a daily streamer? Do you upload things regularly? Do you upload things that are how to do things? Are you a person that's just engaging an audience and it happens to be that the backdrop is that you're playing a game, you know? And they're all different aspects of the same, what you would think of approach, but they're not. And so one of my best things that I was ever told is because Relentless let me know that like a lot of people watch him because, and he told me this, so it's not disrespect, because at the end of the day, they want somebody to come home, hang out with, and they don't want to go to the bar, but they want a drinking buddy. And a lot of his stream is no matter, regardless of what he's doing, he attempts to provide for the value of being there for the people that are viewing his stream. And he identified early where his value was coming from for his stream, which then him letting me know that made me really ask, well, what am I conveying as a value? Like, because you don't just get watched for the sake of somebody watching. There has to be some identity of a value where you're attempting to bring. And so then I messed around with a lot of different things because you have to find your identity. And I found out like a lot of things I wasn't good at that some streamers are really good at. I get better watch time when I do a look at new apps or new video games on the longevity of stuff that's more green stuff. I like more evergreen content. I get really good watch time in the middle of when you're actively streaming. If you're a content active streamer, your watch hour count up is amazing, honestly. But the longevity of some of the active streams is sad, and it's not as evergreen as like a video upload answering specific detailed questions on an aspect of a gamer. And so I don't know if that even answered it, but
No, you did, but there's a lot to unpack there. So let's, I'm going to start with, so having a mentor was important for you. Do you believe just generally people should have a mentor?
oh, 100%. Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, you can't on social media if you don't collaborate with others, if you don't seek out somebody that's willing to be like, this is the method. So I went to a thing called VidCon. Even. I attend. There's a conference in California that's literally just for video YouTubing and stuff like that. And if it wasn't for other people conveying things to me and going to a conference and actually taking classes in like, well, structurally, what am I not doing right? I absolutely do not believe I would be succeeding on YouTube or any other social media platform to the same level. On LinkedIn, it was Michelle Alexa that ended up helping me. Like she's one of the very first people I was linked in with on LinkedIn. She profoundly helped me blow up my profile on that. And so finding and reaching out to somebody that like literally seems to understand something that maybe you don't, because everybody wants to be profoundly intelligent in their own right. But sometimes the smartest thing you can do is to seek out somebody that actually knows and be willing to listen to what they have to say. And sometimes it's profoundly not how you think the universe should work. And you find out that maybe that you need a paradigm shift because it is actually how it works. And so there's a lot to finding a mentor that's going to actually transfer usable knowledge and realistic expectations, because like a lot of them will let you know if you visit with some of the streamers that they streamed for multiple years and hard grinding. They didn't have a giant audience. They weren't famous. And I think even Mr. Beast less than 3 years ago had 8,000 or something followers. I mean, like it very much a not the same situation. And so there's reasonable expectations of the amount of time. And then there's reasonable expectations of outcome too that get conveyed. And over the duration of streaming, you also, with mentors and stuff like that, you see streamers that start and they just vanish. And some of them really would have made it, but there was nobody there to reinforce, hey, look, you're doing good, even if it doesn't feel like you're doing good. And sometimes having the mentors that'll be like, hey, no, I get you. You're upset because you didn't get like 200 views because you streamed something an hour ago, and which is stupid to be upset about. Like, especially because literally the long picture dictates it. My best videos for Green Magi Labs and stuff literally took off and got to where they were having thousands of views per day a year later. Like, it wasn't like the day after I put the one video out, it did well. In fact, on the little curve where it tracks against the cone of data, it was lagging under the standard performance of some of my videos. And then because it got incorporated to an associated watch lists on other channels, it got correlated under a video that was doing extraordinarily well.
Okay.
And ended up getting in the I can't remember what they're called right now, but basically where it floats it to the side on a video that gets like 2 million views, I think. So it was a random, hey, I got caught up in a correlation thing a year after that launch of a video that pulled my best video into where it started pulling the rest of the channel up here and there. And so there was no predictability on that. And it really was about longevity and endurance more than like, oh, I popped a video out that was profoundly so good that it immediately succeeded.
So what's your to boil down what you're saying, more content's better?
I believe, for one, I absolutely 100% believe that you don't actually even know what you're doing until you've produced 100 videos. Like, you actually aren't comfortable in front of the camera as much. You don't know how to edit. So once you have 100 videos, you can go and delete out the 10 worst right off the bat. And you have enough to be able to know. Plus, then you have enough data. You don't know which ones are going to grab up, but like, It's kind of like they say, to do anything and do it well, you have to put 10,000 hours into it. And then you're exceptional. And there's the rule of 10,000 hours thing. And I don't really know if you have to put 10,000 hours to have a basis of understanding, but I really feel that until I had a considerable amount of videos and streams done, I actually didn't know what I was actually doing. And I know it sounds like, well, you're just playing a video game and stuff like that. But I was sloppy about watching the side thing of chat. I literally wasn't aggressive, and I like played the video game how I play safely, instead of playing for an audience in which like I had to literally play and change the way I play in a profoundly, what I consider like, well, this is just me being brazenly stupid and running into every bad situation, guns a-blazing, which is what people want you to get good at. They want to watch that. And like, sometimes it doesn't matter. Like, you just have to evolve. But how are you going to know without a statistical sample? And like, you need enough data out from enough stuff. And so I feel where I've seen people really succeed is where they put like 8 videos out where they're answering a question on the specific game, which kind of correlates them to, and tag it well. If your channel isn't tagged and correlated and the videos aren't correlated, you're not doing thumbnails and stuff like that, you will have a harder time succeeding. It really is important. And if you can edit down to like just the best clips, more people watch a 6-minute clipped down video than they do a 30-minute video. And so like your older expiring out stuff, sometimes maybe you just go in and you edit it up, get it a new thumbnail, make sure you tagged it well. And maybe that's the profound change that some channels need. I'm even sloppy on that, but I know because I have enough data to say, hey, the ones I have thumbnails in that I went through and did the due diligence of tagging right and editing, I know that the statistics on them are better. And so you can't make those judgments until you have 100 or so videos out in different ways. And I have had videos where I haven't tagged them amazingly, and I haven't custom thumbnailed them that did well, where it just happened that the computer picked a good thumbnail and I was lazy that day. And like I named something PUBG something something because I was gonna go in and name it like better later on. And like somehow that got clicked on a lot. I mean, and I left it even though I kind of felt it was clickbaity, but I'm like, oh, whatever.
Clickbait works. It may be somewhat unethical, but it definitely works.
Yeah, I'm like,
I hope everybody's paying attention and taking notes, because everything you just said is like very high level marketing stuff that you need to understand. Now, going back a bit, in your description of what you did, it sounded like you kind of backed your way into the streaming aspect of it. Can you kind of tell us what it is that you do that got you there in the first place? So what do you do like as a business?
okay, so Green Magi Labs advises for the cannabis and the hemp industry. We have a product line of fertilizers on top of that. And so really, in all honesty, as legalization has transpired across the nation, we focused on early market break-in. And so we aggressively pursued that, but with a startup with limited means and funds. So the best messaging medium for our company was going to be, and for the cost exposure, the development and stuff like that. And because we were comprised of an interesting collective group of investors and early starters. Some of them were actually YouTube people that already did YouTube. That they heavily pressured us to develop a YouTube presence for the purposes of promoting our fertilizer, demonstrating the power of our fertilizer and product promotion. In which, weirdly enough, because that's such a specialized field of knowledge and we have experts on it, the videos caught up pretty reasonable is what I would consider. That is a monetizable channel. That totally screams its watch hours. I don't even remember what we're estimated to hit watch hours at this point.
All right.
And so that's where and then because I watched the units basically because I was able to see the videos as individual units of production of minutes, watch hours plus likes. And so I basically broke down the replication of it. And for a medium, I game as a hobby and in my spare time. So there's no economic loss at all or sacrifice out for me to game and develop a gaming channel. And so for me, it was a transference of the knowledge we gained from the marketing efforts on that side, in which then I did develop, and I transferred over into other startups and stuff. I have a .com startup I'm slowly developing that when I finish flushing out a different one, it's a property improvement.com type thing. And it already has a YouTube side that I'm slowly developing and stuff. And I also have another channel called For the Love of Edibles, Cannabis, and Keep Cooking, in which I just started developing, but its watch hours I've calculated out, and based on statistical data of the actual watch of the videos that I've already loaded, I need about 48 videos for it to actually hit monetizable hours watched and stuff like that. And so it's kind of a
dig into that point you just made. How do you track your analytics? What are your key performance indicators, your KPIs? What is it you're looking for?
Okay, so for me, a video, when it's basically floated to the side, and I can't remember what they call that right now, but
recommended video.
What is it?
They're the recommended videos.
No, yeah, but they impressioned. So
okay.
We look to have across the board. I feel that you never want to float where your impressions are under 6%. A good video, though, will impression through at least 12 to 20%. 1 in 5 people, if you have a video impressioning through where 1 in 5 people that see it float to the side click the video as the next video, that is an extraordinarily, I mean, you've got to think about it. Google controls the amount of impressions they're going to grant you. All you control is the statistics, and that's why thumbnails are so important and stuff, on how many people click you when you are impressioned. Because the majority, and so if you're not answering the question, if you do not have a already developed following, most of your stuff is going to come from either playlists that other people are hosting or impressions. And so for a developing channel, mastering your impression click-through rate is everything, because like that's where you're going to get the new person. And Google is pretty accurate about making an impression relative to something somebody's watching that is likely, if you've tagged it correctly, like what you're watching. And so if they've done their job and you've done your job right, all that you are playing is a statistic. And so if a channel, if a video, plus if it has a disconnection factor at all, you kill a video. If you're, I mean, like you can always go into Google Analytics, hit the subscriber back thing, ask yourself, well, how many people has this gained me? How many people has this lost me? I mean, like flat out, if a video is not gaining you an immense amount of watch hours and is disenfranchising anybody, why is it there? And plus, it also matters, well, why are you having your channel? Some of this stuff isn't going to matter to some people because they're not approaching it from a method of hey, I'm going to take and I'm going to use this as a product in which I'm going to either remove or build. If you're okay with no matter what's out there being just out there, it doesn't matter. But if you are going to take a segment approach on it and try to kind of fine tune it and be like, well, what videos are performing bad? And sometimes it really comes down to just watching the video and watching where people are disconnecting on the video. And maybe you find out that you could just edit 8 seconds out of that video and it's much better. I've had that happen several times where there was just like a second or two that was awkward. And why was it in there? Because it didn't add any value. And so like value adding content is the key to all of it, to be honest.
Okay. But how much time do you think you spend kind of just reviewing your old videos for those little moments?
At this point, an immense amount of my time is being, because I'm trying to catch up on it because I wasn't being diligent about it across the board in the beginning. And so uh, per week, it matters how lagged out you get. Like now that I keep up with it and I finish a video and I review it and I do it, the due diligence immediately, less time. I, though, streamed and produced videos for like probably a year before I knew how to edit or actually knew what I was doing. They're not excellent videos because I didn't actually have a clue. I'm going back through them. I've edited out tons of them, deleted out some of them. I try to get 2 of my old videos every week recaught up with the hopes of like not allowing myself to load a video again and be, oh, I'll get to it one day, because like maybe you do, and maybe you just have a bad video floating out there for a while, which is really easy to do, to be honest.
All right. You really sound like you have a ton of knowledge on this topic. So I would ask, say someone who doesn't have a channel yet, they don't have anything, they're just starting completely fresh. What advice would you have for that person?
Start under a brand channel, not under your personal YouTube, which I did start under my personal YouTube on mine, which I didn't know the difference of starting a brand channel and not. It is important to start a brand channel.
And on that point, because I had this issue, you don't need a separate Gmail account, or you can do it under your personal email. Just create a brand channel.
Yes. Yeah. I manage multiple brand channels, like multiple for like other companies and stuff like that. Yeah. You can even appoint brand channel managers and stuff like that, which I have people for some of them that help me with some of the other channels. And so it is important to establish brand channels. In fact, sometimes it's important to establish a secondary brand channel that just hosts playlists of the genre of videos you're going to be putting out, and then correlates your playlist videos in with ones that are performing high. Not like stupidly, but strategically aligning your videos intermingled with higher performing playlists of your like kind on a support channel is sometimes a good idea. And then if you have good friends and you can be like, hey dude, is there any way that you would put some of my videos in a playlist on your channel? Because anybody that has a YouTube channel can create a playlist and make it viewable. So your videos float to the side, but so do playlists. And so every additional aspect and place that you can get your videos placed and aligned and strategically placed with other high-performing like videos of who you're aligning your channel to is going to aid you. It varies across my channels what percent come from playlist views. But in some cases, it's been 12% for a starting channel are coming because the videos from that channel are in an aligned playlist on a support channel. And on my, on channels, I've asked friends, hey, would you mind making a playlist and putting me between this video, and this video, and stuff like that. And I know that sounds silly, but if you're not willing to collaborate with people on social media, you might not want to be on social media. It's literally social media. Like, it's very important to be pseudo-social on it to succeed. And so, honestly, just talking to people, collaborating. I know that one of my buddies, Burley Caveman, he games. I'm on playlists on him. When Shadowhammer was actively YouTubing, he actually had a totally different genre of YouTube channel than me, but he would commonly like actually intermittent, and you know how you can feature a channel to the side. And so like networking with people to be able to be featured, playlisted, to be able to have, and I hate to say it, it's pod activity is very important to a point. And so it is what it is. I would encourage people, if they want to succeed on social media, to engage in pseudopod activity and attempt to define what value they're bringing to whoever they're trying to define as a viewer.
Okay.
That's what I would say.
That's fantastic. You know, your point about social media being social, while I've been looking for guests for this, I use primarily LinkedIn. That's how I found you. And a good number of people are like, why are you even talking to me? And I'm like, because it's social media. That's why. Why wouldn't I be talking to you on social media? But how about this? What advice would you have to somebody who thinks that they just don't have the time to be able to have a business or have a job and still have time to game? Because obviously you're pulling something off pretty well here.
I prioritize my time. Sometimes it really feels like a job to have to put something out, because like that's what happens when you turn something into it. I've had days where I'm like, I want to play a video game, but I'm not going to stream this. I actually don't stream the majority of if I do game anyway. I only like to stream if I'm going to engage in a positive way, because I found when you just force it, it doesn't go well anyway. And so you have to, maybe you don't have time to be a daily active streamer where you stream every day. But there's people that have way less restrictive things, and maybe you stream shorter streams. I mean, you don't have to be an 8-hour daily streamer to start establishing a brand and start correlating yourself to something. I've seen people that literally upload a video on a business definition every day on their channel. Their channel is being built. They're correlating themselves to business terms. I don't know that they're not literally going through a textbook, but they're accomplishing their goal effectively. You know what I mean? They're not spending more than 20 minutes a day on doing that. Like literally, I wish I would have known about doing that when I was going to college. I got 2 business degrees. I could have took the study guide and uploaded a weekly study guide on business things. It wouldn't have took me anything. I would have integrated it into my studying. I would have correlated myself like a beast to business terms. And I'll bet every one of those videos, because every one of those terms is going to be looked up by half of the college people, is going to correlate to a ridiculous amount of watch hours, in which they're going to be thankful that you like went through and explained. And so like, I don't know. It matters what you're trying to do. If what are they trying to stream? If they want to stream only high intensity gaming at a high level, it's hard. You actually have to be good at the game, and being good at games at a competitive level actually is work. If you're going to upload a view of and look at this, or quick, I wanted to show you how to craft this armor in this, for sure, you can cut 15 minutes out and do a weekly upload, I would almost bet. And so like, not everybody has the time for one type of streaming, in which maybe there's more lenient types of streaming that are perfect for you.
Oh, that's so beautiful. Thank you. No, that's great advice. You're like, you mentioned do business definitions. I'm like, I got to take notes because I can do that too.
It's not actually a bad idea. It actually works really well.
Oh, it does. I'm actually starting to put out how-to videos right now. I'm releasing a couple every day. So business definitions, I'm like, I hadn't even considered that one. It seems so simple, but you're absolutely right. It's all about the watch hours. If I get people just to find me, they'll look at my other content potentially.
So on how-to videos, one of the things that I do know boosts your views is, you know how when you code in the tags, you'll put how-to and just drop it as a thing, and then try to code all the associative words. What I found out is a lot of people type in, how do I? And I, for a long time, was not putting in how do I into any of my watch videos, but people Google actually statistically more how do I do something than how to.
Well, like, I got to go back and readjust all my tags now. Thank you.
Yeah, it's Boolean logic, which is kind of, and my Google actually thought I was Googling stuff right there. They listened to me, or wasn't listening. I don't know. I'm just joking. It did.
All right.
But yeah, no.
I know that's fantastic advice. And no, definitely something my listeners need to be paying attention to is make YouTube videos. One, I think I say this over and over again in my content. You have to make YouTube videos. Like, that's the second largest search engine in the world. Why aren't you doing it?
Oh no, it's an amazing platform.
Absolutely. And you are just dropping tons of knowledge on us. Thank you so much, Donald. Let's kind of go back to some fun. We've been like kind of brainy for a little while. Let's talk about video games again. What's your favorite video game of all time?
So one that got scrapped, sadly enough. So Star Wars Galaxies used to be an online like MMO sandbox
Yeah, that was a
like
while
real
back.
Star Wars universe, and it got like scrapped by Sony Entertainment at one point, and got vaporized into nothing. But so it doesn't exist. But outside of that, like I really liked Guild Wars. I thought it was an excellent game, and Diablo probably two.
Guild Wars 1 or 2. I played 1 for a little bit before I ended up playing Warcraft. So
I didn't play two, so that's where they lost me. Okay, so Guild Wars was amazing, and all the expansions I played through, like brutally loved that game. Like played the crap out of it. I don't even want to know how many man hours I put into that game. But it didn't transfer two to their part two was not the same, and I kind of checked it out. But like they should have developed the just Guild Wars 1 just as a basic realm, and kept upgrading it. The Guild Wars 2 was a definite mistake. It's actually one of the things I'm worried that they will do with some other video games coming up, actually. But I hope.
let me ask you this. If you could wish a sequel into existence, what game would you make a sequel for?
Honestly, I can't remember what the game was called, but it's an old, like, I think Sony, like, actual, like, where you had to put the disc in and stuff game,
Sure.
like, original, and I think it was Brigantine or something like that, Brigadine, and it's old as crap. It's a game that they won't probably ever redo, but it had excellent character development. I mean, it's like the old graphics, like almost Zelda-style graphics, but the individual unit development on it and the evolutions of the characters were excellently done for such a low bit like game. And so like I would like to see them redo that, because with what they could redo, I mean, you can create such a higher level game. It's amazing at this point. And so some of the games that had a lack of being able to fully be played out for the amount of development and evolution of the characters and the items within the games, I would like to see redone and brought forward. Most of the current games, the only one I'm looking for sequel-wise right now is the new Diablo. I'm kind of looking forward to.
Diablo 4. It looks beautiful, doesn't it?
I'm praying to God that it's as good as, like, yeah. So I really liked Diablo 2. I thought that was such a fun game. It had such a great trade environment. The social aspects of it were amazing. And if they can actually do Diablo 4, and they say that it looks like they've developed amazing raids. And so I like games that develop their own ecosystem and their own social like evolution of like these are guilds, clans, and stuff like that. I love games that evolve to where you're like playing with the same buddies over a campaigned period of time. And so the idea that they were attempting to really capitalize on the expanded storyline and raids and stuff like that, I'm excited for. And I love trade systems. That's the death of a lot of games culture, is where they decide that they're going to cut out trade systems. Player-driven trade systems literally drive raids and stuff. I mean, like, that's why people raid for items sometimes. And it kind of develops this, like, professional culture within a game where, like, people specialize at getting an item sometimes. And it adds to the fun to me. I mean,
I understand. I remember back when I played Final Fantasy 11 online, there was the Leapin' Lizzie mob that dropped a special boot. You had to camp there for like 8 hours for it to spawn. It only spawned like once every 8 hours. But you were specialized, and I'm going to sit here for this one mob, and that's my market share. So
right?
I get it. And I mean, it's tough doing that nowadays, but this has been fantastic, Donald. So how do people find you? Where do you want them contacting you? What social media platforms are you on?
So I'm on LinkedIn, Instagram. I'm actually under myself on pretty much everything. Follow me on Green Magi Labs on my For the Love of Edibles, Cannabis and Keef Cooking channel, Instagram, LinkedIn, whatever. Contact me any way you want. I love people, and so
Sure.
bigger networks better.
And because of that, I'm going to have to make sure YouTube understands this is not for children, because we're required by law to tell them that now.
No, and they make you click the little thing anymore. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I 100%. Like, what do you think about the new COBA stuff?
The new
That's
what?
what it's called, right? COBA? Isn't it COBA?
I don't particularly care because none of my stuff's for children. It's not like I'm streaming games. This is definitely not kiddie. This is business advice.
Yeah, see, it doesn't affect me at all either, but a lot of YouTubers, in fact, a lot of YouTubers that I feel have nothing to do with, like, it doesn't affect them, literally have vast opinions on it and seem to be, and I've never heard a real, like, rational thing of why it would matter, like, to me, but.
I mean, if you're directing your marketing toward children, hoping that they're going to sign on, then you know you're caught. So, but if you're not, then you're not, and don't worry about it. Just aim for the people you care about.
That's kind of what I thought too.
All right. Well, Donald, is there anything else you wanted to talk about before we wrap this up?
No, that's it. I hope you have a great day.
Thank you. This has been absolutely fantastic. We really do appreciate you coming on, and we really do appreciate you coming here with us. You really have dropped some amazing knowledge, and this is going to be one of those videos I make sure I transcribe. That way I can make something out of it.
Okay, well, thank you very much. You have a great day, man.
Absolutely. You too. Hey, if you like this podcast, I'd love to invite you to check out a little bit more about me, Dr. Bradford Carlton, Gamerpreneur. If you go to my website, www.thegamerpreneur.com/bonus, I'm going to give you a free copy of my book, The Warcraft of Business, where I explain my history in both gaming and business and how I brought the two together in order to create some very successful companies and help a lot of people. And all you got to do is pay for shipping and processing, and I'll send you this book. I absolutely know you're going to love it. All right, you all take it easy.